Hi everyone, this is James Yu. This is my Project 3 optical tachometer demonstration. I'm going to first start by going over some of the code. We're using pin 2 on the Arduino Uno, which corresponds to interrupt 0. We have a few variables here to store our data. We have the interrupt service routine, which increments this counter, which is essentially how many times our transmission from our IR LED to our IR receiver is interrupted or disturbed. We have in our setup function, we're starting up the serial port, we're attaching an interrupt, and then in our loop function, we're just testing if 1,000 milliseconds or 1 second has passed since we last executed this code. And if it has, we stop the interrupts. We calculate the RPMs because we're using a 3-blade fan, or this is going to be 20 times the RPM count, and then we reset it and we print that out along with the time and reset the time, and then we re-enable interrupts. So moving on to our setup, over here we have basically two modules. One is the Arduino Uno. We have the 5-volt power supply here connecting to the IR LED and the IR receiver, as well as they connect back to the ground here to the Arduino Uno as well. And then we have another module here, which is a 9-volt battery connected to a power supply source or a power supply module, and it's connected through a potentiometer to control the speed of a fan. Moving on to the live demo, I'm going to be using screen for my serial monitor again. So that should be old data, but now we have the new data coming in. It's starting at 0. I'm going to go ahead and put my finger here and just intercept this transmission, and it should start popping up. Let's see how fast we can go. Unfortunately, not very fast, it looks like. Okay, so we're going to try using the fan, and that should give us a higher RPM count. So we're going to go ahead and turn that on, and then we'll put it here, and okay, and it looks like it's working. It took a second probably because I didn't align it well. I need to buy a mount, but it looks like it's pretty stable, around 1,000. And let's go ahead and slow it down. I'll just use my finger for this. Okay, and it goes all the way to 0, and then let's start it back up. Oops. Okay, and it looks like that stabilized around, again, around 1,000. So we'll go ahead and export this. And we'll save it to a file called rpms.csv. And we have here our CSV file. We'll open it up. And here's our data. So let's create a plot. Oops. So looking at this, it looks like we start at 0. This is where we try to use our finger. We didn't get much faster than 200 RPMs. And then we started up the fan, and it took a second for us to put it in the right place, but it looks like it was pretty stable around 1,000. We slowed it down with our finger, and then we sped it back up, and it looks like again it was pretty stable. Got to around just under 9,000, and then it came back down.